In the heart of Umuaja, a small but vibrant village in southeastern Nigeria, there was a woman known far and wide, Mama Ngozi. She was in her mid-30s with a robust figure and a smile that could make even the most hardened soul feel at ease. But it wasn't just her warmth that made her famous, it was her food. People traveled from neighboring villages just to taste her jollof rice, her ofe nsala that could raise the dead, and her pepper soup that left men licking their fingers with their eyes closed in sheer bliss. It was said that once you tasted Mama Ngozi's food, you could never eat from another woman's pot with satisfaction. But as her fame grew, so did the whispers. Some villagers claimed she had used Juju, some kind of charm, to make her food irresistible. Eno pure, they murmured in secret gatherings. How else could one explain why people who had eaten from her stall once always returned, their pockets willingly emptied for another plate? Among those who doubted her was Chief Okafor, the wealthiest man in the village. He owned the biggest palm plantation in Umuaja and prided himself on his ability to see through deception. Mama Ngozi must be using something, he told the village elders one evening. No ordinary woman fit cook food. We go make strong men forget their wives' pots. We must find out the truth. The elders agreed, and so a plan was made. That very night, 3 men, Okonko the hunter, Mazi Dike the herbalist, and Nana the palm wine tapper, were chosen to spy on Mama Ngozi. They would watch her every move and uncover whatever secret she hid. That night, as the moon hung lazily in the sky, the 3 men crept to Mama Ngozi's hut. The aroma of roasting meat and bubbling soup filled the air. From a crack in her window, they watched as she cooked. To their surprise, they saw nothing unusual. No charms, no powders, no strange incantations. Only a woman, stirring her pot, humming softly to herself. Maybe she hides the juju inside the pot, Okonko whispered. Or under the firewood, Nana suggested. Dike, being the most cunning, had another idea. The next morning, he would go to Mama Ngozi's stall and request to help her cook. If she refused, that would be proof that she had something to hide. And so, when the sun stretched over the horizon, Dike went to Mama Ngozi's stall, wearing his most charming smile. Mama Ngozi, he greeted. I want to learn how to cook like you. Abeg, make I help you today. Mama Ngozi threw her head back and laughed. You help me cook? Ah, Dike, now today I go see wonder. But seeing the earnestness in his eyes, she nodded. Oh yeah, come make we start. But no say, I no warn you, cooking no be small work oh. Dike spent the day beside her, chopping onions, grinding peppers, and stirring steaming pots. He watched carefully, but he saw nothing sinister. By the time evening came, he was drenched in sweat and his back ached. And yet, the food tasted as magical as ever. Defeated, Dike reported back to Chief Okafor and the elders. Mama Ngozi no dey use charm, he admitted. Na just pure handwork and love, wey she dey put inside her food. But Okafor was not convinced. He needed stronger proof, so he decided to set a trap. That night, he visited the dreaded Dibia, a powerful sorcerer who lived at the edge of the forest. I want to know if Mama Ngozi uses charm, he demanded. The Dibia listened, then reached for a cowrie shell and threw it onto the mat before him. He studied it for a long moment before looking up. Mama Ngozi's secret is in her pot, he said. But it is not the kind of secret you think. The next morning, before the village cock could crow, Okafor stormed into Mama Ngozi's stall with his men. We must check your pots, he announced. Mama Ngozi, who was about to serve a steaming plate of yam porridge, wiped her hands on her wrapper and raised her brow. Why you won't check my pots? She asked, her voice calm but firm. Because we believe say you dey use charm for inside, Okafor thundered. At this, Mama Ngozi let out a deep laugh. E be like say hunger dey worry una. Oh yeah, check am. Cautiously, Okafor and his men approached the pots and peered inside. All they saw was a thick, rich soup bubbling softly. They looked under the firewood, behind the stall, even inside her water pots. Nothing. So where is the charm? Mama Ngozi asked, folding her arms. Shamefaced, Okafor muttered, maybe the dibia make mistake. Mama Ngozi smiled knowingly. No, he no make mistake. My secret dey my pot, but no be juju. The real secret na love. Every time I cook, I put my whole heart inside. I use the best ingredients, I cook with joy, and I always pray, say anybody wey chop my food go get satisfaction. That na my only charm. The villagers, hearing this, murmured among themselves. Could it really be that simple? Could love and dedication truly be more powerful than any magic? From that day on, the suspicions faded and Mama Ngozi's food stall became even more popular. People no longer whispered about charms, but about the warmth and care she put into every meal. And Chief Okafor? Well, he became one of her most loyal customers, never missing a day without eating from her pots. As Mama Ngozi's fame continued to rise, not everyone was pleased. Other food sellers in the village, especially Madam Ejiro and Mama Chika, watched in frustration as their own customers abandoned them for Mama Ngozi's stall. Na only her food people go chop for this village? Mama Chika grumbled. Even my best customer, Chief Okafor, no dey come here again. Wetin she put for her soup, we make am sweet like that? Madam Ejiro sighed. We gats do something. If we no stop am now, na so she go chase all of us comot for business. That evening, the two women met secretly under the big Iroko tree near the village square. We need to find out if she truly dey use charm, Madam Ejiro said. But this time, we no go just watch, we go catch am red-handed. Mama Chika's eyes gleamed. I get plan. And so, unknown to Mama Ngozi, a new conspiracy was about to unfold. One that could change everything. Frustrated, Mama Chika stood up and wiped the sweat off her forehead. Where she dey hide am? Shh, Madam Ejiro hushed. Wait, I get idea. She reached for the pot's lid and lifted it slowly. The scent of seasoned goat's meat and fresh uziza leaves hit her nose. She dipped a wooden spoon into the soup and tasted it. Immediately her eyes widened. Ejiro, wetin happen? Mama Chika whispered urgently. Madam Ejiro swallowed, looking stunned. The soup, it be like heaven. Mama Chika grabbed the spoon and tasted it too. The flavors danced on her tongue, rich, spicy, comforting. It was the kind of meal that could make a person forget their worries. They exchanged glances. If this was juju, then it was the sweetest charm they had ever tasted. Maybe na true say she know they use charm, Mama Chika murmured. But before they could decide what to do, a deep voice cut through the silence. Who dey there? Their blood ran cold. It was Chief Okafor's voice. Torchlights flashed through the darkness as Chief Okafor and two guards stormed into the stall. Madam Ejiro and Mama Chika froze, their hands still holding the wooden spoon. They had been caught red-handed. So, now una wan prove say Mama Ngozi dey use charm? Chief Okafor barked, his sharp eyes narrowing. Now una be the real thieves, sneaking around another woman business in the dead of night. Chief, we know, Madam Ejiro started, but he cut her off. Shut up! If Mama Ngozi no use charm, then wetin una dey find for here? By now, a small crowd had gathered outside the stall, drawn by the commotion. Mama Ngozi herself arrived, all wrapper tied tightly around her waist, confusion on her face. Wetin dey happen? Chief Okafor pointed at the two women. These women sneak enter your stall. Them won't catch you, say you dey use juju. Mama Ngozi sighed and shook her head. She turned to the gathered villagers. My people, how many times I go talk I know they use charm. Not just my love for cooking, my careful selection of spices, and my prayers where they make my food sweet. Another in the crowd nodded. True talk, good food, no need juju. Feeling ashamed, Madame Ejiro and Mama Chika lowered their heads. Mama Ngozi eyed them with pity before speaking. Instead of una to find trouble, why una no ask me make I teach una? The crowd murmured in agreement. Chief Okafor folded his arms. I no want you hear anything again about juju. Mama Ngozi, abeg, if them want learn, teach them. Madame Ejiro and Mama Chika glanced at each other, then at Mama Ngozi. Finally, Mama Chika sighed. Mama Ngozi, abeg, teach us. A slow smile spread across Mama Ngozi's face. No wahala. Make una come tomorrow morning. The next day, the two women arrived at Mama Ngozi's stall before sunrise. For the first time, they watched as she carefully measured her spices, selected only the freshest ingredients, and cooked with patience and joy. They learned that there was no magic in the pot, only skill, effort, and love. As the weeks passed, Madame Ejiro and Mama Chika's own cooking improved. Customers began returning to their stalls, drawn by the delicious meals they now prepared. The jealousy that once burned in their hearts was replaced with respect for Mama Ngozi. One evening, as they sat together after the day's work, Madame Ejiro turned to Mama Ngozi and said, Mama Ngozi, we don't learn our lesson. Now patience, care, and love be the real secrets. Mama Ngozi chuckled. Yes, my sister. Now the same lesson where life they teach us. If you want succeed, put your heart inside. From that day on, the food market of Umuaja thrived, no longer filled with envy but with the sweet aroma of well-cooked meals and honest competition. Just when peace seemed to have returned to the village, another storm was brewing. Deep within the forest, the feared Dibia, Unze Agwu, sat in his shrine, gazing into the flickering flames of his sacred fire. His eyes clouded over as visions filled his mind. He saw Mama Ngozi's pots, bubbling with rich steaming soup, but within the pots, he saw something else, something hidden. He saw shadows circling, whispering, waiting. The balance has been disturbed, he muttered. Something unnatural is at work. At dawn, Onze Agu summoned his most trusted messenger, a young boy named Obina, and sent him to Chief Okafor. Tell the chief that the woman's pot is not ordinary. Tell him he must act before it is too late. Obina ran as fast as his legs could carry him, reaching Chief Okafor's compound just as the village was beginning to wake. Panting, he delivered the Dibia's message. The chief's face darkened. I thought this matter don't end, he grumbled. But the words of Nze Agu were not to be taken lightly. If the powerful Dibia said something was wrong, then something was wrong. Without wasting time, Chief Okafor gathered the village elders. We must go to Mama Ngozi's stall again, he declared. And this time, we go make sure say we see the truth. That night, as Mama Ngozi closed her stall and retired to her hut, the chief and his men moved in silence. Armed with torches and wooden staffs, they marched to her cooking area and surrounded it. Search everywhere, Okafor commanded. The men overturned firewood, opened sacks of ingredients, and even dug into the ground beneath her cooking area. They searched her pots, her water jugs, her storage containers, everything. Yet, they found nothing out of the ordinary. Just as they were about to leave, one of the guards noticed something strange. A small old wooden box hidden beneath a pile of yams. He picked it up and showed it to the chief. Open them! Okafor ordered. The lid creaked as they lifted it. Inside was a bundle of ancient-looking cowrie shells tied together with red cloth, alongside a small calabash filled with an unknown powder. The men gasped. Juju, someone whispered. Before anyone could say another word, Mama Ngozi herself appeared at the doorway, her face unreadable. Wetin una dey find again? She asked, her voice calm but firm. Okafor lifted the box. So, now this be your secret? Mama Ngozi took a deep breath, stepped forward, and did something no one expected. She smiled. Una wan know the truth? She asked, looking at the elders and villagers who had now gathered around. I go tell Una. She took the box from Okafor's hands and held it up. "This box belonged to my grandmother," she said. "She be the greatest cook for her time. She teach me everything wey I sabi. These cowrie shells, na she give me as blessing. The powder, na ordinary spices wey she mix many years ago." The crowd murmured, unsure of what to believe. Chief Okafor's face remained skeptical. "So, why you hide am?" Mama Ngozi sighed. "Because I know say una no go understand. For our land, once person succeed, dem go say na juju. Nobody go believe say hard work and talent fit make person great." The silence was heavy. Some villagers nodded slowly, realizing the truth in her words. Others remained doubtful. But the biggest shock came next. As Mama Ngozi placed the box down, an elderly woman stepped forward from the crowd. Her name was Neka, one of the oldest women in the village. "I know this box," she said in a shaky voice. "It belonged to my best friend, Mama Adaku, the woman wey train Mama Ngozi." Neka turned to the crowd. "Mama Adaku no be ordinary woman. She be woman wey understand nature. We sabi how to use herbs and spices to heal body and soul. No be juju, na wisdom." The villagers exchanged glances. Could it be true? Could Mama Ngozi's success simply be the result of inherited knowledge rather than dark magic? Seeing their hesitation, Mama Ngozi walked to her cooking pot, scooped some of her steaming soup into a wooden bowl, and held it up. "If una still dey doubt me, come chop," she said. "If na juju, e go catch una." One by one, people stepped forward to eat. They tasted the food, expecting to feel something strange. But all they felt was warmth, satisfaction, and the taste of home. Chief Okafor watched as his own men ate and sighed deeply. "Mama Ngozi," he said at last, "I no go lie. I be one of the people wey no believe you before. But today, I see say, na true talent you get." The elders nodded in agreement. The tension slowly faded, and an air of celebration took its place. The truth had been revealed, and Mama Ngozi was finally free from suspicion. As the crowd began to disperse, Nze Agu's young messenger, Obina, arrived at the scene, panting heavily. "Dibia say make I come warn una," he gasped. "Say trouble still dey come." A hush fell over the villagers. What new danger awaited them? The villagers exchanged uneasy glances as Obina's voice trembled with urgency. "Dibia and the Agu say wahala still dey come," the boy repeated, wiping sweat from his forehead. Chief Okafor frowned and turned to the elders. "This matter no go end like this. We must see the Dibia for ourselves." The next morning, a small delegation, including the chief, some elders, and Mama Ngozi herself, made their way into the thick forest where Nze Agu's shrine stood. The trees loomed tall, their ancient trunks whispering secrets to the wind. The air smelled of damp earth and burning herbs. As they arrived at the shrine, the Dibia sat cross-legged before his fire, his weathered face unreadable. His voice was deep and commanding. "I see darkness. Something hidden in Mama Ngozi's past threatens this village. If balance no return, trouble go come." Mama Ngozi's heart pounded. "Wetin you mean?" she asked. Nze Agu threw a handful of white powder into the fire. A burst of blue smoke curled into the air, shaping itself into a faint figure, an old woman with piercing eyes. Mama Ngozi gasped. "Mama Adaku!" The fire crackled louder, and the figure spoke in a whisper that sent shivers through everyone. "Ngozi, the past never forgets. Seek the truth before it seeks you." Before Mama Ngozi could respond, the smoke vanished. The Dibia sighed. "Your journey never ends. You must find out wetin your grandmother hide." With heavy hearts, the villagers made their way back, but Mama Ngozi knew her life would never be the same again. That night, Mama Ngozi couldn't sleep. She sat outside her hut, staring at the moonlit sky, her mind racing. What secrets had Mama Adaku hidden? And why was it now coming to light? Determined to uncover the truth, she decided to return to her grandmother's old hut, which had been abandoned for years on the outskirts of the village. At dawn, she packed some food, tied a wrapper around her waist, and set off on the journey alone. The path was overgrown, the hut covered in vines and dust. Pushing the wooden door open, she stepped inside, coughing as dust swelled around her. Everything remained as it had been: the clay pots, the mortar and pestle, and the old wooden shelf stacked with dried herbs. Then she saw it: a small wooden box, identical to the one the villagers had found, but this one was slightly bigger. Her hands trembled as she picked it up. Slowly, she lifted the lid. Inside, there was a faded parchment wrapped in cloth. She unrolled it carefully and gasped as she read the ancient inked words: "The keeper of the pots must never abandon the path. Within the taste of the earth lies the power of life and death. Use it wisely, or it will consume you." Tucked beneath the parchment was a small round stone with strange carvings. A chill ran down Mama Ngozi's spine. She knew she had just uncovered something far bigger than herself. But was it a blessing or a curse? Mama Ngozi clutched the small carved stone in her trembling hands. The weight of the parchment's words pressed upon her chest like a heavy rock. The keeper of the pot. What did it truly mean? She closed her eyes and tried to recall all the lessons her grandmother had taught her about cooking, about the essence of food, about the power hidden within nature. Was Mama Adaku protecting something far greater than just a recipe? Was the secret to her success more than just inherited wisdom? Determined, Mama Ngozi wrapped the stone in the cloth and placed it securely in her waist pouch. She knew she could not return to the village without answers. There had to be someone who could explain this mystery, and she knew exactly where to go. She turned back toward the village, but instead of heading to her home, she made her way to the only person who could possibly help: Nze Agwu, the Dibia. The sun was already high when Mama Ngozi arrived at Nze Agwu's shrine. The old man was seated cross-legged before his sacred fire, eyes closed, chanting under his breath. Without opening his eyes, he spoke: "I knew you would come." Mama Ngozi knelt before him and placed the carved stone and parchment on the ground. "Tell me, Dibia, what does this mean?" Nze Agwu opened his eyes and studied the objects. He picked up the stone, turning it in his hands, his eyes narrowing. "This," he murmured, "is not an ordinary stone. It is a relic of the earth spirits, a symbol of their blessing or their curse." Mama Ngozi swallowed hard. "And the parchment?" The Dibia unrolled the old paper, tracing his fingers over the words. His brows furrowed. "The keeper of the pots," he whispered. "It is an ancient role, passed down through generations. Your grandmother was one, and now, so are you." Mama Ngozi's heart pounded. "But what does it mean? What power does the pot hold?" The Dibia sighed. "Food is life, Ngozi, and the pot of the keeper is no ordinary pot. It can nourish or it can destroy. The taste of the earth, the herbs, the spices, the roots. You think it is only for flavor, but it is much more. Used rightly, it brings prosperity. Used wrongly." His voice trailed off, and a cold wind rustled through the shrine. Mama Ngozi felt a deep chill in her bones. "What happens if it is used wrongly?" she whispered. Nze Agwu's eyes darkened. "The spirits will take back the gift." Silence stretched between them. Mama Ngozi realized that she was not just a simple cook. She had inherited something powerful, something dangerous. The question was, could she control it? Mama Ngozi sat before Nze Agwu, her mind spinning with questions. The weight of the revelation settled heavily on her shoulders. "So, my grandmother knew all this, and she never told me." The Dibia nodded solemnly. "Perhaps she wanted to protect you. The knowledge of the keeper is not an easy burden. Some use it for good, others..." He trailed off, his eyes filled with unspoken warning. Mama Ngozi clenched her fists. Then why is the village turning against me? If this gift is meant to help, why do they believe I use juju? Enze Agu sighed and leaned forward. Because, child, people fear what they do not understand. But tell me, have you noticed anything strange when you cook? She hesitated, then slowly nodded. Sometimes, when I mix certain ingredients, the taste becomes different, almost as if it speaks to the soul. People keep coming back, as if they can't resist it. The Dibia's face darkened. That is the power of the pot. It is a tool of the spirits, and it reacts to your intent. If your heart is pure, the food nourishes. If you desire something else, it can bend the will of those who eat it. Mama Ngozi gasped, realization dawning upon her. Was this why the villagers were so drawn to her food? Had she unknowingly influenced them? As Mama Ngozi left the shrine, her thoughts were clouded with worry. If the power of the pot was real, then someone in the village might try to take it from her. She didn't have to wait long to confirm her fears. As she reached her hut, she noticed her cooking area had been disturbed. The firewood was scattered, and one of her pots lay broken on the ground. A bad feeling crept up her spine. Someone had been here. She stepped inside cautiously, gripping a wooden spoon as a weapon. The room was empty, but something felt off. Then she saw it. A small folded note tucked beside her spice jars. Her hands shook as she picked it up and unfolded it. We know your secret. The pot does not belong to you. Give it up, or you will regret it. Fear gripped her chest, but deep beneath it, something stronger stirred. Anger. Someone wanted to take away the one thing that connected her to her grandmother's legacy. Whoever they were, they would not succeed. The next morning, Mama Ngozi walked through the village market with her head held high, though her heart pounded in her chest. She could feel the stares, the hushed whispers that followed her every step. Someone had broken into her home, left that warning note. But who? She glanced around the market, searching for any sign of suspicion. Was it one of the other food sellers? Jealousy was a powerful force. Could it be someone from the chief's inner circle? Had Chief Okafor's trust in her wavered? She took a deep breath and approached her stall. If they expected her to be afraid, they would be disappointed. She would cook, as she always did. She would serve her customers and show them that she had nothing to hide. But just as she set down her basket, she noticed something unusual. A dark-robed figure standing at the edge of the market, watching her intently. Their face was hidden beneath a deep hood, their posture rigid and unmoving. A cold shiver ran down Mama Ngozi's spine. That night, as the village settled into sleep, Mama Ngozi sat alone in her hut, staring into the flickering flames of her lantern. Her grandmother's words echoed in her mind. The pot is not just for cooking, Ngozi. It carries the whispers of the ancestors. Listen well. She closed her eyes and let the silence envelop her. Then softly, so softly she almost didn't hear it, a voice whispered, beware the one with the hungry heart. They seek to take what is not theirs. Her eyes flew open. The hut was empty, yet the words still ran in her ears. A warning from the spirits themselves. She clenched her fists. Whoever was after her pot, they would not succeed. But the question remained, who was it and how far were they willing to go? The next evening, Mama Ngozi prepared our food as usual, but her mind was sharp, her senses alert. The shadowy figure had not returned, but she knew they were still watching, waiting for the right moment. As she stirred her pot, she caught a glimpse of movement near her stall. A hand reached out, attempting to grab the sacred pot. With lightning speed, she turned, catching the culprit red-handed. It was Chijioke, one of the younger food sellers, a man who had always been envious of her success. Chijioke! She gasped. Now you they do all this? Chijioke's eyes burned with frustration. You think say we no go notice? Everybody know say your food no be ordinary. I see the way people they come back like say them no fit stop. Na charm, abi no be charm. Mama Nyozi sighed deeply, shaking her head. No be charm, na knowledge, na the wisdom wey my ancestors give me. But Chijoke was beyond reason. If no be charm, then you no go mind if I take the pot. Before he could make another move, the villagers who had been watching the confrontation surged forward, grabbing him. The next morning, Chijoke was brought before Chief Okafor and the village elders. The evidence was clear. He had tried to steal from Mama Ngozi. But the question remained, why? Chijoke lowered his head. I know they sell food like before. People know they come my stall again. I think say if I take her pots, I go get the same power. The elders murmured among themselves. Stealing was a serious offense, but envy and desperation had driven him to it. The chief raised a hand for silence. Mama Ngozi, you be the one wey this matter concern. Wetin you say make we do? Mama Ngozi looked at Chijoke for a long moment before speaking. Make una free arm, she said. Gasps rippled through the crowd. But he must learn. If he wants sabi how to cook better, I go teach am. Chijoke's eyes widened in shock. You go teach me? She nodded. The power no day inside pots. A day inside knowledge. Weeks passed, and true to her words, Mama Ngozi taught Chijoke and others who were willing to learn. She shared her grandmother's wisdom, the secrets of spices and cooking techniques. Slowly, the village began to understand. There was no magic, only skill, patience, and love. The strange occurrences stopped. The market flourished again, as many food sellers learned new methods and improved their craft. Mama Ngozi's stall remained the most popular, but now it was not out of fear or mystery. It was out of respect. One evening, she sat by her fire, gazing at the old pot. She ran her hands over its worn surface and smiled. Her grandmother's voice echoed in her mind. The pots never held the power. You did. Years later, Mama Ngozi's name became legend. People still spoke of the woman who turned suspicion into wisdom, who shared her gifts rather than hoard it. One day, an eager young girl approached her stall. Mama Ngozi, I want to learn how to cook like you. Mama Ngozi smiled, recognizing the same hunger for knowledge that once burned in her heart. She handed the girl a wooden spoon and gestured to the pot. Come, my pikin, she said. Make we start. And so, the legacy continued. Not through magic, but through knowledge, passed from one generation to the next. Thanks for watching. Abeg, if una dey love this story, make una subscribe to my channel so say e go grow. You fit leave a comment in the comment section, like the video and share. See you soon.